Hello, welcome back to Affirmations. I want you all to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I post. I want to thank my subscribers, any new subscribers that I have, as well as those of you who are swinging through. Okay, I'm gonna let's see, like my Palo Santo. For those of you that are new, one of the things I always talk about is whenever you're doing healing work, it is spiritual in nature. And like churches and temples, a lot of times we'll light candles and incense. That is good for us to do as well. Okay. I wishing everyone mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical health. Okay. Hoping everyone is doing well. Hoping you are having a good week or had a good week. What's one thing you can do if it has been a stressful week that you can do in order to help things be smoother? Okay. For those of you that are new, also too, we do tackle the topic of healing slave trauma, generational trauma. Um, and so that is something that we do look at. We are using the DBT deck today. Okay, the information is in the description box. Okay, and DBT stands for dialectical behavior therapy. This is a therapy kind of to help people who have been through traumas and what they call complex traumas, right? And there's no group of people that have been through more than our people. Okay, and so we want to start with our saying. I think the last time I forgot to do that. We always start with our saying, death and life is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Have you been feeding yourself fresh or rotten fruit? You always want to mind the self-talk that you are doing, as well as what you speak out loud, as well as what you're speaking about others. It is okay to vent, but if you are being malicious or lying on others sometimes, that can activate reap what you sow. Okay? Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to kind of randomly pick a card to see what we're going to talk about today. Oh, there it is. The one we got is called Vision. Vision. Okay. Let's see what it's saying. It's saying seek out what is pleasing to the sense. No, seek out what is pleasing to this sense. Look at or create art or photographs. Take in the sights of nature or the cityscape or whatever relaxes you visually. For a few minutes today, simply look at something pleasant, perhaps something as simple as a vase of flowers or a plant, fully connecting with it and taking it in. Yeah. How often do we, take a little mental break and actually take in just simple beauty? Or are we just so busy and so stressed that we really just don't take a break and just actually, as it says, take in nature or looking at something that's beautiful, right? And so these are simple things that we can do that a lot of times we take for granted, right? We're so busy. You have all these beautiful things around you, but you're so busy, you're so stressed, your mind is so stuck in the past, right? Or you're so anxious about the future, you're never in the present moment. You never take a minute just to kind of acknowledge where you're at or to acknowledge simple beauty, right? So that is a task. Seeking out what is pleasing to the sense, right? Looking at or create art. For those of you that are artists, create some art. Or for those of you that maybe want to experiment with that, trying your hand at that, or looking at photographs. Yeah. Yeah. So something to think about. Even looking at flowers or plants. So funny. One of the things I was thinking about when you think about flowers, and a lot of times I will get flowers each week, and I'll just look at them and say, it's so beautiful. And I think about, beauty, and how beauty, no matter how stressed you are, when you see beauty, it stops you in your tracks. It lifts your spirits. I think about women's beauty, right? How just looking at the beauty of women and that creation, right, that bursts spirits here on earth, but how in slavery, because we're always going to connect everything back to slavery, beauty is always looked at something that you must experience, you must touch. But just like flowers, how we look at them and we don't touch them, you don't have to do anything to a flower. It's just there. It's just beautiful and it lifts your energy. So wanting to even rethink the beauty of women, right? In a way where you're just able to look at that, not have to touch that, bother that, manipulate that, but being able to take in that beauty and be inspired by it. I know that's a strange concept, right? Because in slavery, we always are talking about that master slave role, right? Where people want to possess beauty, right? Control beauty, take beauty, or jealous of beauty. And even that, even just amongst peers, right? Friends, male group, female groups, seeing someone in the group with a certain beauty, instead of being jealous of it, being inspired by that. I know for myself, I've sometimes been in the store and I'll see someone coming and they're dressed so well. And I'll be like, man, I'm going to go clean up my house. I need to go get me an outfit, right? So sometimes instead of putting a negative spin on it or feeling envy when you see someone who is just beautiful, right? Consider that maybe it is inspiring you and acknowledge the beauty. You don't have to go up to them, but be thankful that we do live in a world where there's beauty just to look at, to be inspired by, okay? So, okay, that's interesting. Okay. You can put in the comments section anything that maybe you have observed that has kind of lifted your spirits, or something that you look at that's relaxing. I know in a chair in my room, I have a sight of a window, and it's a nice tree that is kind of grown, and I can see this tree blowing in the wind. It's so peaceful. So give ourselves permission to be in the present moment. So this week, once a day, see, can you find something that catches your eye? Inhale, exhale, and just look at it. Take a couple of minutes. If you can do 5 minutes, that'd be great. Just to acknowledge, no matter how stressful things are, just beauty, okay? Okay, we're going to do an affirmation card. These affirmation cards are all also in the description box. 100 positive affirmations, okay? Okay, there's one. Let's see what it's talking about. It says, I'm in charge of my emotions. We've gotten this before. I'm in charge. Is it going to focus? I'm in charge of my emotions. Let's see what it says. It says, what can I do in the moments I feel powerless? When am I most likely to feel a particular emotion? How can I remind myself of the power I have over my emotion state? Let's see if we can connect that about what we were talking about regarding taking a break and looking at beauty. I'm in charge of my emotions. One of the ways in order for us to, what they call, ground ourselves, is to be in the present moments. And sometimes that is looking around at something to allow our mind to calm and to focus on something else and shift our attention. So identify what that is. And maybe, let's see, sometimes, and I know I've talked about this before. Let's see. Sometimes people will carry different things with them, that sometimes when they're stressed or something to focus on, right? This is a lapis lazuli. This is one of the stones that we've talked about in the past. Again, one of the stones in the priest breastplate in the Bible, that they had 12 stones. This is one of the stones, lapis lazuli. And sometimes people have stones or things that they carry with them in order to ground themselves. Look up the word grounding, right? Helping you to be in the present moment, helping you to calm down, touching something. I am here. even though my emotions are all over the place, sometimes when you have something to ground yourself with, it helps to settle you. So you may identify something that maybe you'll carry with you, um, to where whenever those emotions are feeling very extreme, you have a way, it says, what can I do in the moments when I feel powerless? Yeah. Sometimes you have to remove yourself from situations. Sometimes you do have to ground yourself and regroup. When am I most likely to feel a particular emotion? That's a good journaling entry. We always talk about that. And it's normally the same types of things. They call them triggers. We all have triggers that sometimes bring up extreme emotions. You need to know what those are. You probably already know what they are. But when am I most likely to feel that emotion? And how can I remind myself of the power I have over my emotions? So I've sometimes given this assignment with someone, they even have this in their pocket, or they may have it in their hand, knowing that they're going in a stressful situation. And so just holding this, just kind of reminding themselves, right, that I know I'm in a high trigger situation. I already have a plan on how I'm going to respond. And so sometimes carrying something with you can help ground you and remind you of that. Okay. So something to think about. Okay. Um, let's see. So with that, I think we had a little short one today again. I want you all to like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know when I post. Also, too, in the description box, there's information about how to get in contact with me if you should want to schedule a session with me or do what we call your yearly mental health checkup. Again, we normally get checkups for everything else, but we need to check in with ourselves at least once a year. And also information about what to do if you need to find a therapist with insurance, without insurance, as well as information about self-harm. Do pass that on. Also, I only have this channel. Since I've had this channel, I see other channels with this name. So no, that's not me. Also, I will never reach out to you. No, that in order to get in contact with me, you just need to email me information in the description box. Okay. And so with that, I'll end with our statement. Everyone has a right to heal from trauma, in privacy, right? And without judgment. And even though our race nation have never been given this right, we just need to know that we have that right. And so again, everyone has a right to heal, even a race nation. Until next time.